Don't get me wrong, we don't usually go out here and make videos about AHL trades, but this isn't actually just an AHL trade. It's actually two trades. A trade between the NHL's Buffalo Sabres and Pittsburgh Penguins, and it's also a trade between the Buffalo Sabres and the Pittsburgh Penguins farm teams, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, and Rochester. So we're going over the graphic. This is a really interesting video-making opportunity. We never talk about AHL trades, so let's dive into it here. This is courtesy of the Rochester Americans Twitter account. They went out there and posted this: trade alert. The Buffalo Sabres have traded defenseman Colton Poolman to the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for forward Bennett MacArthur. Additionally, we, the Rochester Americans, have acquired Jagger Joshua from the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins in exchange for future considerations. Both MacArthur and Joshua will report to Rochester. So, this is the trade breakdown right here. Jagger Joshua and Bennett MacArthur over to Rochester or Buffalo. Colton Poolman and future considerations over to Pittsburgh or WBS. And if you think about this trade and the assets involved, it's really not too significant, but I did want to make this video partially because we do have some lore to dive into with both Jagger Joshua and Colton Poolman. So if we dive into that right here, Poolman going over to Pittsburgh, this is the only guy that the Pittsburgh Wilkes-Barre Scranton organization is receiving here. Colton Poolman is the brother of Tucker Poolman, whom I'm sure most Canucks fans will be recognizing of. He's a former Vancouver Canucks defenseman. Colton wasn't, but Colton Poolman, 29 years old, 6 feet 201, left-handed defenseman who was unsigned. He was a full-on free agent signee out of the NCAA. He played for Nodak. He was the captain of that team in 2019-20. If I recall correctly, who else was on that team? Was Tyler Kleven, Jacob Bernard Docker on that squad? Let's go out there and look. Okay, Shane Pinto. Yeah, Jacob Bernard Docker. Tyler Kleven? No, he was not there. Am I even correct about that? Did Tyler Kleven even go to UND? I do not really know my Ottawa Senators prospects all too well, but Kleven, oh, he was at UND. He was after. Okay, my bad. But Colton Poolman was a Nodak captain before eventually going to the AHL. Stockton Heat, Calgary Wranglers, Rochester Americans, 1 point in 5 games this previous season. Now he's heading over to Wilkes-Barre Scranton, and he is coming alongside of a pretty interesting future consideration. So I guess Wilkes-Barre Scranton must have really evaluated him highly to have gotten this guy pretty much for 2 other players. But Colton Poolman, as we had said, there are links there to the National Hockey League. Same thing you could say about Jagger Joshua going over from Wilkes-Barre Scranton over to Rochester, because Jagger Joshua is actually the brother of one Dakota Joshua. Yeah, Vancouver fans, get up all in here, because you have 2 guys that are linked to Vancouver getting swapped around in an AHL deal. Jagger Joshua is 25 years old, 6'2", 201, a left-handed left and right wing who had played with Michigan State University, getting 24 points in 37 games in his senior year. He eventually signed with the Penguins AHL team. He had 25 points in 63 games last season. This season, he had spent even some time in the ECHL with the Wheeling Nailers, but wasn't really all too utilized with Wilkes-Barre Scranton. And as a result, he's getting sent over to Rochester, where hopefully he'll be able to rediscover himself in the AHL and start producing a little bit more than the point production pace he was at last year. It took him a while, even in the NCAA, to fully get up to speed. His junior season saw him put up 8 points in 36 games played, and then the year after that, he tripled his point production. So he was a bit of a late bloomer, but then again, you got to think about Dakota. I'm pretty sure Dakota also took a long time to develop, although he was drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs before he got sent over to St. Louis. Dakota also was actually a lot better in the NCAA. I take that back. He was better than his brother Jagger, although there is some time because Dakota is a bit older than Jagger as well. So we'll see whether or not Jagger Joshua is able to have some sort of an impact in Rochester and maybe even crack the NHL one day. if not for a preseason game here or there, who really knows. But also, heading over to the Rochester Americans, you've got Bennett MacArthur, 23 years old, young dude, 6 feet 194 left-handed guy, signed out of the free agent pool because he was not drafted. Bennett MacArthur this season played for the Wheeling Nailers in the ECHL, 7 points, 28 games played, really not significant production. Last year he had spent, 55 games in the ECHL as well, gathering 32 points in the process. Again, not really great, but as a QMJHL signee, he had 77 points in 54 games in his overage season for the Acadie Bathurst Titan. Pretty good signing, but not really a guy that has rounded out to the best of his ability. Honestly, when you think about this trade, you think about these assets getting moved, these are all AHL caliber guys. Colton Poolman, I guess the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Penguins just needed a defenseman, and for Rochester, more forward depth isn't going to hurt them too badly, which is why you see this. Jagger Joshua from Wilkes-Barre-Scranton to Rochester for future considerations, and Colton Poolman from Buffalo over to Pittsburgh in exchange for Bennett MacArthur. Furthermore, we had ourselves the Rochester Americans PR team going out there and talking about both of these guys. So let's talk about this here. The Sabres acquired Bennett MacArthur from the Penguins in exchange for Poolman. The Amerks acquired Jagger Joshua from the Penguins for future considerations. Both Joshua and MacArthur will report to Rochester. Let's go out there and read the scouting reports over here. So this is Bennett MacArthur heading over to the Rochester Americans, a forward. He totaled 3 goals and 4 assists for 7 points in 28 games during his first season with the Wheeling Nailers, Pittsburgh's ECHL affiliate, tied for 9th amongst all Nailers in goals, 10th in assists, and 11th in points. Wow, that's really not substantial at all. I get that you need to put in stats to fill in the stat card here, but that's really digging at the bottom of the barrel. Yeah, this guy was tied for 9th in ECHL Wheeling Nailers goals. Ay. In 136 career games at the ECHL level with Wheeling, Orlando, and Allen, this guy, Bennett MacArthur, produced 67 points since the start of the 22-23 campaign, while also recording a pair of goals in 5 postseason contests. That should say contests. It says contest. Another oopsie for the Department of Graphics over there. Skated in 6 games at the AHL level, all with Syracuse registering 2 shots. Really? Okay. 4 penalty minutes too in the AHL. Nice. He had amassed 172 points over a 5-year junior career with the Summerside, Western, and Acadie Bathurst Titan. From 2018 to 2022, he also logged 17 points in 17 playoff games in his last 2 junior seasons. Interesting. We're talking about MHL production now too, eh? Let's go over to Bennett MacArthur here and see. Oh, wow. The Summerside Western Capitals. What an interesting dig from the bottom of the barrel there. Very, very interesting. They're counting this as junior. Well, the QMJHL is like major junior, so I guess it's a little bit different, but still. Anyways, let's go back over onto the Amerks PR team. Jagger Joshua, here we go, Dakota Joshua's brother. He notched 1 assist in 4 games with the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Penguins, while also adding 5 points in 8 games with the Wheeling Nailers during the 24-25 season. He had recorded 26 points on 10 goals and 16 assists in 74 games with the Penguins since the start of the 22-23 season. He also played in a pair of postseason games with Wilkes-Barre-Scranton. He spent 4 seasons at Michigan State University in the NCAA, recording 21 goals and 23 assists for 44 points in 135 career games. He was also named to the NCAA's honorable mention all-star team following the 22-23 slate, where he had posted collegiate career highs in goals, assists, and points in 37 games. So really, this is a minor trade for the minor trades. It's 2 trades technically. I mean, the Sabres and the Penguins did make themselves a trade, but it is only really going to impact their AHL teams. So I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about these 2 trades done by the Sabres and the Penguins NHL teams and the Sabres and the Penguins farm teams. Buffalo sends Colton Poolman to Pittsburgh for Bennett MacArthur, and Pittsburgh sends Jagger Joshua over to Buffalo for nothing. So this is the tale of the tape here. Jagger Joshua and Bennett MacArthur for Poolman and future consideration. It's actually really good that they made this graphic over here, as much as I give their social media team some crap for these graphics that they posted over here. But this graphic is a really good one. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this trade. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.